Imagine a dinner party, a nice restaurant booked weeks in advance, 12 different people gathered around a long table. One guest has 8,000 followers online. He spends the night angling shots of the food and checking his view counts. He is physically present, but his focus is split. Another guest never takes his phone out. He engages with everyone at the table and remembers specific details from conversations had months earlier. After the party, the host describes the first guest as not really there. The next morning, they text the silent guest to tell him how much his presence meant. 8,000 strangers received a version of that dinner, while the 12 people at the table received only a fraction of that guest. Guest B, by contrast, gave the table his full attention. In a culture that values constant visibility, opting out of the performance economy creates a specific kind of friction. This silence is often met with suspicion, as if choosing not to post is a confession that something is wrong. Choosing privacy in a performative culture indicates a psychological orientation that changes how the mind processes reality. Leaving social media is rarely a calm, calculated evolution toward enlightenment. Often, a relationship ends, or a period of depression makes the gap between real life and the digital highlight reel unbearable. Sometimes a person posts something genuine and vulnerable, only to be met with silence or a misunderstanding. These experiences create a residue that doesn't fade. For many, the exit is an act of self-preservation. A few weeks after leaving, users report a specific sensation. A background noise they hadn't noticed was suddenly gone. They haven't heard silence in years. Most find they do not miss the platforms at all. The fear of missing out is replaced by its opposite. This stabilization suggests the digital environment itself was the primary source of their internal chaos. The Journal of Consumer Research published a study on anticipatory sharing. Anticipatory sharing is the mental act of preparing to document an experience before it actually happens. This split in focus pulls you out of the moment. Your brain attempts to live the experience while packaging it for an audience. Because these processes compete for resources, the memory formed is shallower, and you feel less emotional attachment to the event. This highlights a psychological trait called private self-consciousness. It is the tendency to focus inward on your own thoughts and feelings, rather than monitoring how you are being perceived. This diagram compares the outward-facing performance loop with the inward-facing process. One asks, "How does this look?" while the other asks, "What do I actually think about this?" People high in private self-consciousness are not detached from the world. They are actually more attuned to it. They simply process that experience internally. Maintaining a sense of self that doesn't require external confirmation is a rare advantage in a world built for outward performance. Choosing this path has a social cost. When you stop posting, you become harder to track, and people have to reach out to you directly to maintain the connection. Many low-effort friendships quietly dissolve because the frictionless connection point of the social feed is gone. However, the people who remain, the ones who call, text, and make plans, belong to a higher quality category of relationship. This shift toward quality over quantity is supported by the Harvard Study of Adult Development, which has tracked people for over 80 years. The study found that the depth of close relationships is the strongest predictor of long-term health and happiness. At the dinner party, guest B wasn't just being polite. He was engaging in the specific behavior that 80 years of data identifies as the key to a happy life. This psychological state is known as authorship, the profound feeling that your life belongs entirely to you, rather than an audience. Resisting the urge to translate an experience into content is an assertion of ownership over your own existence. It is the decision to let a moment just be without asking it to perform for anyone else.